It's Miss Patty with Sunday School, and I have something special to show you today. Some of your friends from Sunday School, I got a picture of when they dressed up and we did our Christmas play. Look here. There's Joseph and the angel from our Christmas play. That's Caleb as Joseph and Clark is the angel. Isn't that fun? They dressed up and acted out the play. I thought that was really special. They sent me their costumes, so I wanted to show you. They also guessed my age, and we're going to do something about my age a little bit later. Remember that I told you I had a birthday, and you were going to send me some of your guesses. And I got guesses from some kids, including from Caleb and Clark. So when we do my birthday chart, I'll tell you about that. But right now, I want to know if you remember about opposites. So let me see. An opposite is when it's exactly the other way. So if I say clap loudly, and then I say do the opposite could be clap softly. Or if I say do something fast, the opposite would be to do it slow. So I've got a song about opposites. I'm going to move out of the way here so you can hear it, and I'll try and do it with you a little bit back behind where you can see me. Hold on a minute while I get it ready.
Can you reach high, so high, do the opposite, Can you look up, then do the opposite? Can you sit down, do the opposite, make yourself short, then do the opposite. Everyone walk slowly. Can you do the opposite? Clap your hands loudly, so loudly. Do the opposite. Can you bend forward, then do the opposite? Move your feet fast, so fast. Do the opposite. Put your hand up, then do the opposite. Everyone walk slowly. Can you do the opposite? Move your feet apart. Do the opposite. Open your mouth, then do the opposite. Clap your hands slowly, so slowly. Do the opposite. Can you bend backward, then do the opposite. Do the opposite.
That's a fun one, isn't it? Get the record player. It's an old-fashioned thing here, a record player. Let me get that out of the way for us. Okay, now I've got our flannel board set up so I can tell you this story today. It starts out talking about this. Do you know what that is? Let me let you look inside. What is that? Do you know? Did you say honey? If you said honey, you got it right. Today our story is about a man named John. Do you know the rest of what they called him? They called him John the Baptist. And he lived at the time of Jesus, but our story today doesn't talk about Jesus yet. We talked about him last week when he was 12, and he's been growing up. He's becoming a man. And today this is about his cousin. His cousin was called John. And John lived out in the desert. He didn't live in a city or a town. You can't tell it too much from these pictures, but he wore clothes that were kind of scratchy, made of like rough camel hair. And he had a leather belt around his waist. You can kind of see that in this picture. And he ate honey. He ate things he found in the desert. So he kind of lived off the desert. He didn't live in a town. That was pretty unusual. He was kind of an odd person, people thought. But he was a prophet of God, and he knew about God. It's my understanding he was the last prophet in the Bible that was predicting that the Messiah would come, because he's actually living in the time of Jesus, right? Jesus is the Messiah. So I think he was the last prophet in the Bible to predict about the Messiah coming. So he was a prophet. That means he was a man of God. And he lived out in the desert. He wore scratchy clothes. He ate honey. And sometimes, guess what else he ate? He ate locusts. They're kind of like grasshoppers. So here we have John. Like lots of the prophets, the people around John knew that he was special, that he had a special way where God was relating to him. He could tell God's messages really well. And so the people around him came to hear him talk. He became a teacher, and he taught them about God's ways. John told them to get ready for the Savior. That's another word for Messiah. It's going to be Jesus, right? And John told them, don't sin anymore. Stop doing what's wrong and start to do things that are right. God will forgive you if you did something wrong, but you have to stop doing it and start doing what's right. That's what John told them. The crowds of people listened, and they asked him, but what should we do? And John gave them some examples. He said, well, if you have an extra coat, if you have 2 coats, you could give one to somebody that doesn't have it. Or if you have extra food, you could give some away to somebody who's hungry. I know lots of you have families that gave food away. We had a food drive to help people who were hungry. Lots of people brought cans and things to the church or gave to the food bank. I'll bet some of you, when you outgrow some of your clothes, I'll bet your moms and dads, your families, take some of those clothes that are still good and they give them to other kids that can use them. So that's what he said. He said, if you have extra, share with people who need them. But that's not all he said. John told them about other things. He said, don't take money that doesn't belong to you. And don't make people give you things. Don't scare them into giving you things. And don't lie. Don't say somebody did something wrong when they didn't really do it. That would be a lie. John said, tell only what is true. And lots of people listened to John, and they wanted to obey God. They wanted to stop doing what was wrong and start doing good things. To show that they had promised to obey God, John did something special. You know what it was? He baptized them. And sometimes we have people who get baptized in our church. Usually in our church, we do it right in the church service. And there's a big pool there, and the pastor goes in and helps the person dunk down. And it's a way to show that they're washing away their sin and they're going to follow God. And it comes from this part of the Bible where John the Baptist was baptizing people in the river. I have to move him because now he's in the water, isn't he? And so John would baptize people. And that was how they said that they were going to do right and they were going to follow what God wanted. After he had baptized them, they said it washed away all the bad things they had done before. We call that washing away the sin. So who is this guy? John the Baptist, huh? If you were in my Sunday school room with me and we had activities that you could do, one of the activities we would have would be to make a sign, and we would make it like a stop sign. You ever seen a stop sign when you're walking or riding your bike or driving with your parents? Kind of looks like this. Let's count the sides. We'll start at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's called an octagon. I think stop signs have 8 sides to them, pretty sure. And this sign says, stop doing wrong. I cut a piece of paper up. I had some extra on my paper and I made a handle for it. And on the other side, if you see a stop sign, it doesn't say anything on the other side, but if you see a stop light, there's a light that turns red. It doesn't have words on it, but it means stop your car if the light turns red. Or if you're walking and there's a stoplight, it says don't walk now. What does it do when it wants you to go? It turns green, doesn't it? So if we were doing this craft activity in class, we would have on the other side of our stop sign, we would have a sign that says start doing what is right. Stop doing wrong and start doing what is right. And if you have some paper at your house, you could use the paper to make a sign like this. You could even use a paper plate if you wanted to. You could use anything for your handle. I used the extra paper I had when I made my sign into an octagon, but you could use a craft stick, or if you had a little dead stick off of a branch, you could use anything. Even if you didn't have a handle, you could hold it with your hands. You could make it out of a paper plate and color your paper plate or paint it red and do the other side green. But the main thing isn't about the sign. The main thing is the message. And the message is stop doing what's wrong and start doing what's right. John the Baptist didn't have cars. He didn't have stop signs. But he did know to tell people about what was wrong and what was right. And so we can still pay attention to what John told us, even if you don't make the sign. But just like the people in the story, maybe kids don't always know what is right that kids can do and what is wrong. So I want you to think for a minute. If you were in class with me, we would write on a board. We would write the things that are right and the things that are wrong. But we'll just think about it for a minute because I can't hear you talking to me. Sometimes kids have trouble sharing. That's okay because they're still learning, right? Especially little kids need to learn to share. But if they have a lot of trouble sharing and they're pushing or they're biting, or they're hurting anybody, do you think that's right or wrong? That one would be wrong, wouldn't it? What about if kids see that somebody doesn't have enough Play-Doh and they're feeling bad because they don't have enough and maybe they're about to grab somebody's? What could somebody else do? I've seen kids at Sunday school do this. Sometimes they say, here, you can have some of mine. And they take off a chunk and they share it. Is that right or is that wrong? That one's right, isn't it? What about if you see something that's wrong? What about if you see somebody not telling the truth? You hear somebody not tell the truth, or you see somebody hurting somebody else. What should you do? Sometimes it depends. Sometimes if they're your size or littler, sometimes you can just go over and say, hey, don't hurt him. But if they're bigger than you, sometimes you have to go get somebody else who's bigger. So that's when you go tell your mom or your dad or whoever you know that you can really trust, and you say, I saw so-and-so, whatever their name is, and they were telling a lie, or they were hurting another kid. I was too little to tell them to stop, but I wanted to tell you because I wanted to do what was right, and I know you will take care of it. So sometimes that's what kids have to do. They have to go tell an adult. What else would kids have trouble with? hurting others, sharing. Sometimes following the rules is hard for kids. Like maybe your mom or dad says, okay, it's time to clean up your room. Or get your clothes on, it's time for us to go to the store. And maybe you don't really feel like doing that. You might feel like, no, I don't want to. Oops, that is wrong. To do what's right is when you are cooperative. So if your mom or your dad wants you to clean something up or wants you to help somehow or wants you to get ready so you can all do something, you cooperate with them, and that's what's doing is right. So that is our story today about John the Baptist and doing things that are right. Let's look at our page here. Circle these objects in the picture, and it wants you to find a butterfly, some trees, looks like some trees together there, a doggy, a mouse, a fruit basket, and a lizard. Let me get my pen out here so I can circle those as we go. So here's a butterfly. Now you could decide if you wanted to circle every butterfly or you just wanted to circle the butterfly that looked exactly like that one. Here's the one that looks exactly like that one. But I might like to circle every butterfly. Here's some trees. Here's a tree. Here's the tree or bush that looks exactly like that one. And here's another tree. Here's a doggy. See a doggy in the picture? Sure, he's right down here, isn't he? What about that little mouse? Do you see the little mouse? Here's what he looks like here. And here he is on a little rock down here. See him? What comes after the mouse on our page? Over here, we're going down the page and we come to a basket of food. This looks like John the Baptist to me, and he's saying, share food if you have extra. So we circle the food. It's kind of at his feet, isn't it? And then here is the lizard. Where do you see a lizard in this picture? See it? It's down here by his feet too, isn't it? There's the lizard. And then over here you would write your name. And I'm going to write my name today. My name starts with a P, A, T, T, Y. Patty. Here's how you spell my name. Let's look at the other side. The other side's the one that has our stickers for today. There's our stickers. What do you see there? I see something that looks like a desert. I see a triangle with a shirt on it. Here's a rectangle. Those look like grasshoppers. Do you remember the special word in the Bible for those grasshoppers? Live in the desert. Locusts. And here are some people. Here's the basket of fruit. Here's the stop sign. Let's count the sides on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Remember what it's called when it has 8? It's called an octagon. Down here is a camera. It says, hooray! And here's a sticker you can wear. It says, God wants you to do the right things. So let's see. This says color all the spaces with an A, with an asterisk. And I think if you color all those ones that have an asterisk, you're going to have an interesting picture. I'm not going to do that because it will take me too long. But you can kind of see it. It looks like it might be a moon or something there. Something smiling and happy. it says Jesus is the Son of God. And here is a big rectangle. Well, I don't see which sticker goes there, and I don't see a heart sticker. Blank is God's Son. He loves us. We want to blank and blank because we are blank. That doesn't seem to match up with this story, does it? Or it doesn't match up with our stickers. We could guess, though. Let's try and guess. Blank is God's Son. Who do you think is God's Son? I would say Jesus is God's Son. He loves us. We want to blank and blank because we want to, I would say, follow and love Him because we are God's. We could find some other words that fit in there, but those words make it up. That was a different one today, wasn't it? Okay, let's see. Should we do the puppet show next? Or should we do the numbers next? I think I'll do the numbers next, and we'll save the puppet show for last. So, let me get that ready. I have to pause this. There we go. Okay, here's our number chart we worked on. Remember we started with 0 last time? We were talking about how old Jesus was when he was a little boy in the temple. Let's count these again. 0, that means we have none. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we get to 10, and we have a 1 and a 0. That means we have 1 of 2 hands full. If you count all your fingers, you have 10 fingers. And when we have a 1 over there, that means we have 1 of both hands. 1 of 10 fingers worth. After 10, we have 11, so there's our 1 and 1 more. 12 is 1 and 2 more. And that's how old Jesus was in our story last time. Remember that? Let's circle that, because that's how old Jesus was when he went back to the temple. His mom and dad didn't know where he was, and they got kind of scared. But he was there because that was God's house. Okay, I'm more. We were going to guess how old I am. Let's talk a little bit about how old John was in our story, too. We don't know exactly, but we have some pretty good guesses about how old he might have been in the story today. So, I'm more than 12. Here's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then we get to 20. And 20 is like if you took all your fingers and you took all your friends' fingers. So you have 2 sets of hands. That's why there's a 2 there. Okay, then we count again. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and that is probably about how old John the Baptist was. We don't know for sure how old he was, but he was probably somewhere in his late 20s for our story today. And then when we get after 29, we get to another one that has a 0, and we have to say a new beginning. So this is 30, and that's like if you have all of your fingers and you have all of your mom's fingers and all of your dad's fingers, right? So you have 3 sets of hands. So that's 30. Now, what do you think is going to come next after 30? If you said 31, you were right. Here's 32, 33, 34. It's It's kind of messy because it's hard for me to write on this board. 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. I'm more than that. Let me see. I need to double check here because Caleb made a guess and it might have been in the 30s. Yeah, Caleb guessed I was 30 years old. That was nice of you to guess for my birthday, Caleb, but I'm older than 30. Okay, we got all the way through the 30s. Are you ready to do the next one? So this is like you have 4 people. In Caleb's house, it could be Caleb and Clark and Mom and Dad, and put all those together, you'd have 40 fingers, 4 sets of hands. So next after 40, what comes next? 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. That's a lot. And Clark guessed I was 46, but I'm more than 46. I've had a lot of birthdays, haven't I? Okay, after the 9 comes the next one is with a 0. So that means you have 5 sets of hands. And in my world, that would be my 5 grandkids that did the Christmas play with us. If I had all 5 of them here and they put their hands up like this, all those fingers would be 50 fingers. And then we have to have 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and then we come to the next one, and that is 60. So we'd have to have 6 sets of hands, 6 times 10 fingers. All right, I don't have to write this one. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, and that's how old I am. I had my 69-year-old birthday. And if we were to go on and do 70, I bet you know how the numbers would work. We won't do it today. But that's how the numbers work. Every time you say the 1 for all the fingers, and then you add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you add another set of fingers. Isn't that cool, the way numbers work? I love the way numbers work. All right, time for our puppet show. Skeeter, what are you doing? I'm practicing. I'm running back and forth. Well, you are running back and forth. Could you stop for just a minute to talk to the children? Well, yeah, I guess so. I'm running because I have to practice for the big race. There's a big race? I didn't even know there was a big race. Oh, yes. It's tomorrow, and all my friends at the park are going to be joining in. It's going to be great. Oh, that sounds like fun. Do you run around the park? No, well, yes, but that's not all we do. The race takes all day, and it doesn't matter if you're first. It's not about winning. Oh, well, it's not about winning? Well, it is, but it's not about who finishes first. Oh, so it's a race. Yeah. And you have to be fast. Yeah. But it's not about who finishes first. No. Well, tell me, what is this race about? Tell the kids. Oh, this is the do-good race. You run around and see who can do the most good. You have all day to do it. I've never heard of a do-good race. Boys and girls, have you ever heard of a do-good race? Sounds like something that might be fun for us to do, huh? Well, tell me about last year's race. Well, at the start, we started the slide by the oak tree in the park, and when the owl hoots, we go. And we run to find someone we can help or something good we can do. Last year, the winner helped 3 baby birds dig up worms for breakfast and helped 2 baby squirrels find their way back home after they got lost, and picked up 4 bottles that fell out of the trash, and then helped a little boy stop crying because the squirrel jumped off the branches up like that to make the little boy laugh. Oh, that was a lot of good to do. Yeah, it took him all day. You know, that's a great idea for a race, isn't it? The Do Good race. I think we should remember that, don't you? I'm sure there's lots of good things you can do in the park, Skeeter. You're so fast, you'll probably be able to get lots done. Yeah, I hope so. Yep. I can't wait. The Do Good race is one of the most fun things we do at the park. Can you help me think of things I could do that would be good? Boys and girls, do you have some ideas for Skeeter? What could he do that would be good? Yeah, they've got some ideas out there. I'm listening. These are good ideas. I'm sure you had some. Thanks, everybody. Oh, thanks. I gotta go. Okay. Goodbye. I hope you have a good time doing good. And the boys and girls might be inspired to do some good too. How about that, boys and girls? You want to try and do good? Yeah, it's really fun. Bye. Bye, Skeeter. Hey, I have something else fun for you. It's a number game. You don't have to do this, but you might like it. My grandson, who is 4, thinks this is such a fun game. I bought this thing, and it's called a number box, but you don't have to have this to play the game. It's really simple. All you have is, it's really simple, but it's kind of hard for me to show to the camera because these things want to tip back. All you have to have is these numbers. We'll say them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you don't have to have them in a fancy board. You could just use a deck of cards, or you could just write them for numbers, put them on a piece of paper, and then when we play, we're going to drop a number down. But you could just turn a number over. And here's the way you play. You need 2 dice. And I rolled, it's hard to see them. Let me pull them up here where you can see them a little bit better. I rolled, let me try it this way. When I rolled, I got 2 4s. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See how there's 8 dots on there? So, on our board, my grandson would look at that and he would say, oh, there's 8. I'm going to turn down the 8. Now, next time he rolls, he might get, oh, okay, I got a 6 and a 5. So if you're somebody who knows how to add, you could add 6 and 5. Or if you don't know how to add, you could count them up like I did for 8. If you know how to add, or if you count them up, you will get 11. Whoops, I need to leave my 8 down. So there's an 8 and an 11. And then you roll again. You can play this game by yourself. Oh, I got 2 6s. 6 and 6 is 12, so I would put the 12 down. But sometimes we get a number. Let me see if I can get a number. Well, let me get a different number here. Let me get a 6. Okay, I'm going to get a 6 and a 2. If I add 6 and 2, I'm going to come up with 8. Because if I take 6 and then I go 7, 8, that's going to be 8. And I already have 8 down. So instead, I can put down the 6 and I can put down the 2. Maybe these are already taken. Maybe I've had them already and I roll this again. Sometimes what we do is we say, well, what if you had 6? There's my 6. And you took away 2. I'm going to take away 1, 2. How many do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4. So then we would go back to our numbers and we would put down number 4. So it's a pretty fun game. And you just keep going until you're tired of it or you get all the numbers down. My grandson gets all the numbers down. He wants to start again. He actually was a little bit sad one day because his daddy said, you know, we have to go home. And he didn't want to leave playing this number game. So I hope it's fun for you. And remember to do good this week. And God loves you. Bye for now.